The lands of Hallownest are absolutely riddled with higher beings. But, of all of them, we all know which one is the most powerful. No, cut! Not Gorb. He's only the second most powerful being in all of Hallownest, with the most powerful obviously being everyone's favorite cool dude, Elderbug. We all know this guy has some pretty magical powers and is a god, but what is the story of Elderbug? After completing the King's Pass tutorial in Hollow Knight and breaking down the door to the entrance of Hallownest, you fall into the town of Dirtmouth and meet the bug, Elderbug. He's likely the first character you're going to talk to in the game, and he gives you a fair bit of backstory that helps you understand everything that's happening so much better. At the beginning of the game, Elderbug is the last remaining survivor in the town of Dirtmouth, with the rest of the bugs in the town having ventured into the depths of Hallownest in search of treasures and all the things that the darkness of the kingdom offers. Elderbug warns your knight not to venture into the ruin of Hallownest, lest you meet the same fate as the other adventurers that have been to Dirtmouth. After losing so many of the townfolk into the ruin of the kingdom down below, Elderbug gets quite depressed, believing that when your knight walks by him that Elderbug has disappeared and faded in with the rest of this fated town. In all of his time alone, his mind has started to play tricks on him, and he believes that your character might be another mirage that he is seeing as his brain tries to give him a false sliver of hope. His last thoughts before you leave to enter the kingdom is, perhaps dreams aren't such great things after all, which sets an important idea in motion for the rest of the story of Hollow Knight, as well as setting a somber mood for Dirtmouth. When Elderbug was just a wee lad, Dirtmouth was on the downfall into what it is at the beginning of the game. At this time, the stag stations were closed, and by the time your character opens up the stag stations, this is the first time Elderbug has ever seen the Stagways be open in his time, which is slightly weird, as many of the characters have seen the Stagways, and Elderbug is supposed to be old and wise, but by the logic of the Stagways' time, Elderbug is one of the youngest bugs in the kingdom, being younger than Hornet, Sly, and many of the other bugs that you met along your travels. Even with the addition of the Stagways to Dirtmouth, Elderbug is still not an adventurer and stays put in his place by the bench, refusing to enter the depths of the kingdom. At one time, before the events of the game unfold, one of Elderbug's close friends passed away and was buried in the graveyard that we see in Dirtmouth. We have no information about this friend of his, so we can only assume that it was Gorb! Elderbug has a pretty deep attachment with this graveyard, as during the fall of the kingdom, before the night reaches Dirtmouth, the town's gravedigger fell into an open coffin while trying to bury some of the dead members of the fading town. At this point, with Elderbug being one of the few remaining residents of Dirtmouth, he buried the young gravedigger and took the mantle as Dirtmouth's gravedigger. But very few bugs have died in this town since that occurrence, though this doesn't mean that he hasn't seen his fair share of doomed explorers. He has met many wanderers journeying into the depths of the kingdom, only to meet a grisly end. Elderbug also had quite the scary run-in with Confessor Gigi, the being who summons your shade back to you when given a rancid egg. This occurred when he was trying to visit his long-dead friend for the first time in a long while, but he saw two creepy eyes staring back at him with some sinister chanting coming from a small outcropping in the peak. And when he heard this, he ran away to go back to the comfort of the town. He also knows a fair share about the layout and history of the kingdom, and throughout the game, he tells you the info he learned from prior explorers about some of the locations across Hallownest. Elderbug likes explorers as long as they aren't loud or insane. When the Grim Troop comes to Dirtmouth for the first time with their flashy tents, rituals, and music, Elderbug is aghast, and he spends hours looking at the tent and utter terror. He believes that all the bugs here are trying to make him feel uncomfortable. But even after this, Elderbug still likes to invite the common bug to reside in Dirtmouth and make it more comfortable for all of the bugs. As you save more and more bugs across the kingdom, he welcomes them back with open arms into the society of Dirtmouth. He asks for the tales of many of these bug adventurers, but few recall any important details. He's thrilled about the new couple of Cornifer and Izelda taking up shelter in the houses of Dirtmouth, but surprised by Izelda's decision to take such a short house. These events help to make Elderbug more and more happy and come to terms with the state that Hallownest is in during the events of the game. But this doesn't make him any more adventurous, and he still isn't as happy as he should be. During numerous points in the game, when your knight makes major changes to the kingdom, Elderbug is in dread and doesn't want to know what is going on below the well of Dirtmouth out of fear of whatever is happening. He refused to dream anymore and subjects himself to a somewhat dreadful life until your knight shows him a kindness. He was used to just sitting around giving advice to all the adventurers who passed him, only for them to die and for him to get nothing, not even a thank you note in return. But if your knight gives him a delicate flower, Elderbug will finally be happy again and start to realize that perhaps dreams aren't such bad things after all. He invites all of the bugs in Dirtmouth to share in the beauty of this flower with him, as it gives him hope and happiness. This also gives us one last strange query about the Elderbug. Dream-nailing him at this point gives us the dialogue. These petals, so white. Can you see them too, watching me from wherever you are? Now, what does this mean? Obviously, Elderbug is likely talking about a missing friend, maybe an adventurer in the depths of Hallownest, who could already be dead. This could also refer, obviously, to the person he was going to visit in the graveyard, but this could also be another significant bug in his life, like a family member who left. We see this theme a lot with some of the other bugs in Dirtmouth, and if he's talking about such a brilliant gleaming flower, he could be talking to anyone across the entire kingdom, or even a foreign adventurer, or a dead person. We have no idea if any of these are true, as we're given no actual evidence about this, but it's quite an interesting thing to think on. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you're insane, check out my Patreon. And also, please check out Mythreal's GoFundMe for his dog in the description down below. Thanks everybody for watching this video. I'm Ravenbane. Have a nice day. I would also like to thank all of you so much for helping me reach 100 subscribers. It means a lot, and it's insane that we've been able to get there. And in relation to the 100 subscribers, I am now opening up my Discord server, where we will be working on a project that I will like to release to YouTube later. It's going to be very interesting. So, if you sound interested in it, make sure to hit up the Discord server.